today I have researched 6 true crime cases, 2 for my Patreon and 4 for my YouTube channel, so that you have 1 true crime every week until I'm back from my Christmas break. So I hope you'll be happy with that. Because of the fact that I've researched so many, they're a little muddled in my brain, so I might have to look at my notes a little bit more when I'm recording them. And also, they're not all going to be super long. I didn't have the time to research like 6 30-minute videos. I'm hoping that all of them will be at least 15 minutes long, but I don't think any of them are going to be like half an hour, so I am sorry about that. I know some of you like a lot longer videos, but if I want to do this many in a short space of time, I have to kind of do a little bit shorter ones. So, but they're all good. At least I think they're very interesting cases, so I hope you like them. Okay. This case was requested, and I'm very sorry I forgot to write your name down, but I will find it in the comments and leave it on the video, so thank you very much for requesting it. I noticed about 5 minutes into this, so I'll just say I didn't research this case that much. I looked up to see if anyone else on YouTube had done a video about it, and there were quite a few true crime YouTubers who had. Now, what I usually do is I'll look at a video and then I'll go and look up a bunch of articles and Reddit threads and stuff to see if there's any details I can add that someone else might have missed. But this was actually done by Bella Fiore, and she did a very thorough investigation of it. Like, her video was twice as long as most other videos I found on it. So I'm going to link her video down below to check out, but I pretty much took all my notes based on her video because I couldn't find any more information than what she had presented. So I realized about 5 minutes into her video that I actually had heard of this case before. It didn't sound familiar when it was suggested to me, but I did. I don't know if I saw it on a TV show or if I saw a video about it on YouTube, but I definitely saw it before. So, with all that said, I'm going to dive into the video. So, today we're going to be talking about the case of Corrie McKeague. So, Corrie McKeague was 23 years old when he went missing on September 24th, 2016 in Suffolk, England. Corrie was born and raised in Scotland. His parents got divorced when he was 9 years old, and Corrie stayed living with his mother and his 2 brothers. After high school, Corrie joined the RAF, which is the Royal Air Force in the United Kingdom. He was based out of Honington Air Base, which is in Suffolk in England. And he was a senior aircraft gunner and a paramedic. No, a medic. About 5 months before his disappearance, he'd started dating a girl named April, and it turned out after his disappearance that she was pregnant with his child, but she didn't find out about it until after he went missing. And his family and friends didn't really seem to know about her. According to them, he was on several dating apps. Corrie was a very good-looking guy and had a lot of confidence. He had a very colorful love life. According to his family and friends, he would regularly pick up women on a night out. So him having a girlfriend was like news to them. But then she actually said, April, that it was more of a casual relationship, and she wouldn't really be his girlfriend. They were more kind of just seeing each other. Kind of irrelevant to the story, but just to give a little background on what type of person Corrie was. Now, his mother gave an interview where she said that he was happy, social, always wanted to be the center of attention, and that if you met him, you just loved him. He just wanted to love life. So on the night of Friday, September 23rd, he had plans to go out with some of his friends from the RAF since they had the weekend off. He missed a ride with his friends into the city, so he drove himself, and he left around 10 p.m. Now, he parked at a paid parking lot, and his payment would expire at 9 a.m. the next morning. In Ireland, and I'm guessing it works the same in the UK, we have parking lots that are either free at night, so between like 6:30 and 8 a.m. they're free, and then you have to pay from 8 a.m. onwards, or they have a night tariff where you pay a flat rate from 6:30 until 8 a.m. and then at 8 a.m. you have to pay again. I'm not sure what this parking lot was, whether he paid or not, but regardless, he would have had to pay again at 9 a.m. So around 10 past 10 in the evening, he called his brother from his car for about half an hour while he was having a drink in his car. And then around 10:50, he joined his friends at a bar. They then went to a Wetherspoons. If you don't know what that is a chain in the United Kingdom. I love going there. They have, it's kind of like a restaurant, like more like a pub food chain. Like they serve food, but they also have bars. It's very well known in the UK anyway. And then after that, they went to a nightclub. They were all really drunk at this point. Corrie was hammered, and the manager of the nightclub asked Corrie if he was okay. And he said, "Yes, I love you." And then he stumbled to the bar. After about half an hour of him hanging at the bar, he was kindly asked to leave by the doorman because he was very drunk. He was drawing attention to himself by being really loud at the bar, and he agreed that it was time for him to leave. And this is where he separated from his friends. He left alone, and his friends were still in the nightclub. But his friend said it was not unusual for him to go home alone. Like, he very often kind of disappeared a bit on nights out and always made his way home alone. And that he was very independent, very confident, and would like walk for like half an hour in the middle of the night home, you know, like it's just something he was used to doing. I don't know if you can hear that. It's raining really hard and I can hear it through my headphones, so sorry. So he was spotted on CCTV footage several times during the night. I get asked this question a lot, what CCTV is. It's security cameras, like the public cameras out that spot you walking down the street. That's what we call CCTV. So I'm going to be using that throughout this video. So first he stopped by a pizza place about half a kilometer from the nightclub and he ordered a load of food. He ordered 2 burgers, 1 kebab, and fries. Then at 1:20 a.m. he was seen on CCTV footage walking past a couple of bars and stopping in front of an electrical store where he sat down to eat his food and then he fell asleep. Someone walking by him woke him up to see if he was okay. And around 3 a.m. then he got up and he sent a text to a friend. Not one of the friends he was out with and not related to his night out. It was like an unrelated thing that he sent. And at 3:24 a.m. he is seen on CCTV footage walking down a dead-end street and into an area called the Horseshoe. The Horseshoe seems to really just be a cul-de-sac, like a big round, like shaped like a horseshoe area where a lot of bars and shops had their back entrance come out in, and all their bins were there, like their garbage, I want to say garbage cans, but like containers, like big garbage containers. I'm just going to be referring to them as garbage bins because it was in the UK, but so you have an idea of how big they were. Now, he was never seen leaving this area, but it would have been pretty much impossible for him to leave it without being seen because there's no way for him to get out other than the way he got in, which was viewed by cameras. He couldn't have gone through any of the businesses at 3:30 in the morning unless he like broke in, which he wouldn't have done. But even then, all the front doors of the businesses had cameras, so that would have picked him up leaving from the other side, and he wasn't seen anywhere there. Now, he wasn't reported missing until Monday, September 26th, because his friends just assumed that he was nursing a hangover and was like sleeping it off, or maybe even that he'd gone home with a girl for the weekend. It wasn't until he didn't show up for work on Monday morning that they reported him missing, because Corrie loved his job. Like, he would never have missed it, and especially not for a hangover. So after he was reported missing, a huge search party was set up and a lot of people joined in on the search, but no trace of Corrie was found. And it is at this point that police started looking at the CCTV footage that I just discussed. And it's also at this point that police came to the conclusion that he couldn't have left the horseshoe without being seen. So they then decided to look at his cell phone pings, and they wanted to see what area it pinged in last. So his phone pinged last in a place called Barton Mills, which was about 13 kilometers away from the horseshoe. But they noticed that it went from the horseshoe to Barton Mills in less than half an hour, and for 13 kilometers, the only way that could have happened is if it had been in a vehicle. At 8 a.m. the next morning, his phone stopped transmitting, so it was either turned off or the battery had died. So police identified a garbage truck from the company Biff driving along this route. So they checked that truck's route on the day that Corrie went missing and found that it drove the exact way that Corrie's cell phone pinged from the horseshoe to Barton Mills. Like the exact same way that his phone pinged, but also at the exact time that his phone pinged. So people at this stage were afraid that Corrie had fallen asleep in or on top of one of the bins, and that the truck picked it up, and that he got crushed in the truck and dumped at the landfill, all without the driver noticing, because if he was in the bin, drivers don't look inside the bin, they automatically pick it up with the truck. And also his friend said it wasn't unusual for Corrie to fall asleep on top of a bin. He'd done that many times before. So the garbage truck had a weighing device, and police did an investigation on the weight of the load. So on this particular day, the load was 116 kilos, which is unusually heavy because most of the time this truck only weighs 30 to 40 kilos. According to the records from the previous days, that was the average weight. So for it to suddenly be 116 kilos was really off. Corrie weighed about 85 kilos, which would have been exactly the extra weight. But there was a mistake in the data, so police were told that the truck only weighed 16 kilos. They left off a 1. So police never thought about even searching the landfill, because Corrie couldn't have possibly been in the truck since it only weighed 16 kilos. Corrie's mother was really unhappy with the fact that they wouldn't search the landfill. She was just really unhappy with how the whole investigation went. So police decided to look back at the CCTV footage and try to identify the 39 other people that were in it, as they were all potential witnesses, but more than half of them were unidentifiable. So they reached out to the public, and this case was so closely watched by people in the neighborhood that everyone was just happy to help. And with the public's help, they were able to identify 23 people. Unfortunately, all of that were dead ends. Police then investigated the possibility that Corrie might have gotten a lift off someone back to base, or happened on a vehicle parked in the horseshoe and, got in somehow. Like, there were trucks asleep there, nobody saw him, and that's why no camera picked him up as he left the horseshoe. But again, there was no evidence found that he would have done this. No witnesses came forward saying they gave him a lift, and yeah. So they did eventually search the whole Barton Mills area, but not the landfill. They also searched around the RAF base, but found nothing. And in December of 2016, they stopped their search for Corrie. By the end of December 2016, the public raised a £50,000 reward for anyone of the public to come forward with information. At this point, Corrie's mother was so fed up with the lack of information. She was fed up with the public not coming forward. She was fed up with the police not continuing the investigation into her son. She threatened police with hiring her own private investigator to look into her son's case. She also threatened the public to take away the £50,000 reward if by a certain deadline no one came forward. And she eventually did retract that reward. And I understand the frustration, and I understand that it's your child that's missing and that you're very upset, but I don't think those actions are helping the investigation in any way. But I do understand that in that moment she's not concerned with anyone else, she's just concerned with her son. So in February 2017, police eventually decided to search the landfill. They searched through 9,000 tons of trash. Now, they searched everything, and they came very close because they actually found receipts from the night of Corrie's disappearance from the businesses that were located around the horseshoe. But they never found a trace of Corrie or of any of his clothing. So in July 2017, after they concluded their search of the landfill, they officially called off the search for Corrie altogether. They also searched the garbage truck and the particular bin that was picked up that day, but again, no traces of Corrie were found. I'll come back a little bit to the theory that maybe he got a ride with someone. So his mother strongly believes that he's not at the landfill because no piece of him was found. She believes that it's highly possible he got a lift with someone because she said that Corrie was the type of person that if he saw someone walking down the street in the middle of the night, he would offer them a lift, so he wouldn't be afraid to ask for a lift himself. There were 5 cars that went in and out of the horseshoe between the hours that Corrie went in and 12 p.m. And she thinks that he could have been in any number of them. Police stopped looking at footage after 12 p.m. So it is also possible, although I don't believe this because where would he be? But it would have been possible that he fell asleep somewhere, woke up, and just walked out. But if it was after 12 p.m., police wouldn't have seen it. So his mother was really mad about that they didn't look past 12 p.m. She said in an interview that Corrie would never sleep in a bin because he was too proud of his appearance and he was too responsible for that. But his friends have said that he slept on top of a bin multiple times. He could have been on top, to be honest, and fallen in when the truck picked up the bin. I'm not sure, but he did do it before. She was also told by police in the beginning that a dog, which was not an official cadaver dog, but police was using him, had picked up Corrie's scent and tracked it all the way to the motorway, and that he did that twice. But police never investigated this lead because they told his mother to just forget about it since the dog wasn't an official cadaver dog. Corrie's father and his brothers believe the police's theory that Corrie was asleep in the bin or on top of the bin that night, and that his body is somewhere in the Suffolk waste system. They held a wake service last year as they believe that he is dead. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this case. I mean, my instinct would be that he was asleep on top of the bin and was taken with the garbage truck. The biggest indicator for me would be that they pretty much took exactly 85 pounds too much with them that day. But I do find it very strange that they didn't find a trace of him on the landfill. Yes, it's a landfill. It's big. If he was crushed in the truck, I know there wouldn't be like identifiable pieces left of him, but they were able to find receipts from that night. I find it really hard to believe that they weren't able to find a piece of his clothing or any piece of him. His phone was also never recovered. Well, yeah, his phone probably would have been crushed to pieces, but I don't know. I just find it so strange. I don't think that he got a lift off someone and that's someone that would have killed him. I don't see why. Also, his body was never found, so I don't really believe that. I do think him being in that landfill or being picked up in that bin is the most likely theory. I just don't understand why nothing of him was found when they could find something so small as a receipt, but not a piece of him. I find that a bit strange, but yeah. That is all there is in this case. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you as always so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.